Welcome back, I'm George, and in this video, I'm going to show you the first things you need to do on your new Samsung Galaxy A16. We have very interesting customization features, some quality of life improvements, and of course, in 2025 fashion, we also have some AI functionalities. But anyways, that being said, let's begin with the first thing that I always do when I get a new Samsung phone, which is to improve the speed of the fingerprint sensor. As you can see, by default, the fingerprint sensor is pretty fast on the A16, but there is actually a way to make it even faster. So let's come to the settings, then scroll all the way down to security and privacy. Then let's scroll down to biometrics and then tap on fingerprints. Now you are going to have to trust me on this one because I want you to grab your saved fingerprint and remove it because we actually have to set it up again. And that's basically the secret. There is a special way to set up the fingerprint so it works a little bit faster. So let's tap on add fingerprint, tap on continue, and then instead of using one finger, we are going to use two fingers, altering between them and doing one recognition tap at a time until the setup is complete. And once that's done and you have your new double fingerprint saved on the phone, you're actually going to do that same thing one more time, meaning you are going to use those same two fingers for a new fingerprint save. And once that's done and you have your double fingerprints saved on the phone, you'll have a slightly faster sensor, but I think much more importantly, you'll have a more reliable sensor. So it is not only going to unlock faster, but it is also going to unlock more reliably, meaning it is not going to fail as much as it did when you only had one fingerprint. And this is not to say that the old method or the basic method is bad. I'm just saying that this, for some reason, is a little bit better. But anyways, once that's done, the next thing that I always do when I get a new Samsung phone is to once again come to the settings, to the main settings page, and then scroll all the way down to About Phone, and then tap on Edit right here at the top. Because as you can see, you can rename your phone to anything you want. You can name it Potato. But be careful because this is the name that everybody is going to see when you share data or connect to any other device, so don't do anything too stupid. Now, once that's done, one of the main things that I always recommend people consider doing on their phone is to come to the display settings, then scroll down to motion smoothness, and consider switching from high refresh rate at 90 Hertz to standard at 60 Hertz. And this is something that's heavily going to depend on the person because some people really value the high motion smoothness of 90 or 120 Hertz, but a lot of other people don't really notice a difference in smoothness between 90 and 60 or 120 and 60. So for those people, it doesn't really make sense to have high refresh rate because it's going to burn more battery life. So I suggest you leave it at 60, apply, and if you don't notice any differences, well, then leave it at 60 because, as I said, you are going to get a much better battery life at no perceived cost, so to say. But anyways, that said, let's move on to one of the most popular things that most people want to do when they get a new phone, which is to make it as fast as possible. And well, on the A16, there's actually two ways to do that. For the first one, we have to scroll all the way to the bottom, then tap on About Phone, then tap on Software Information, and then tap 8 or 9, I'm not really sure how many, times on Build Number. So you'll probably see a pop-up menu saying that developer mode has been enabled after 8 or 9 times. But yeah, once that's done, you'll see that in the main settings page, there's actually a new bottom menu here below About Phone called Developer Options. And as you can see, is sort of like a hidden menu with a lot of customization options that are more geared toward developers. They're not meant for the average user to tweak with, so they are hidden in this menu. But I always recommend you turn it on because there's actually some very interesting tweaks you can do to the phone as a normal user, not as a developer. Starting from the top, if you keep scrolling down, you'll eventually find Window Animation Scale, transition animation scale, and animator duration scale. And these three options basically control the speed of every animation on the phone. Now, if you tap on any of these three options, you'll be able to expand the duration of the animations, so you can see, making it slower. Or if you tap on 0.5, you can reduce the speed of those animations, as I said, making the phone feel faster. More specifically, double the speed, so you can theoretically get to things at half the speed or half the time, and therefore have a better experience. Now, this on paper is a slight improvement, making things a little bit faster. But if you want to go all in and make things as fast as possible, you then have to tap right here on accessibility, then tap on vision enhancements, and then tap right here on reduce animations, which is basically going to not only make them faster, but actually get rid of those animations completely. So as you can see, things are just going to be instantaneous. Things are not going to flow from one place to the other, but just almost hard cut from one place to another, as you can see. So the phone is going to be even faster. Now, this is not as smooth, so to say, but if you want the fastest phone possible, this is the way to go. Now, that being said, and as many of you know, I believe it is as important to customize the phone internally, so to say, as it is to customize the phone externally. And that's why I brought in what I believe to be the best case for the Galaxy A16, which is this clear case that's about $20 and is really, really good quality. This is not sponsored. I didn't get paid to promote this case. I just basically went on Amazon looking for cases for the Galaxy A16, and I thought this one was the best, mainly because it has a MagSafe ring, so you can connect it magnetically to wireless chargers, making the whole process more convenient. So yeah, if you have the phone and you don't have a case, I recommend that you at least take a look at the link that I left in the description for this case, because as I said, it's a really good case. But anyways, that being said, let's go back to the internal customization for the phone. And well, of course, the next thing that I always do is to tap and hold right here on the home screen, then tap on wallpaper and style, and then tap right here on the lock screen option to customize the lock screen. As you can see, we have a lot of customization here. We can tap on the time to not only make it bigger or smaller, but also position the time wherever we want on the lock screen page. We can also change the font for that text, and we can even change the layout. So in this case, we have the default, but we can use a range of different other layouts with a range of different other colors, as you can see. So as I said, a lot of customization for the time. We can then, of course, also tap here to change the widgets. So in this case, I have a weather widget and an activity widget, but you can choose between the ones that you have right here: battery, calendar, clock, reminder, health, and weather. Then, as you can see, you have a little plus icon right here for your contact information. So if you tap on it, you can actually add any text you want, whether it is your phone or your name or your ID or whatever it is. So if you lose your phone, whoever finds it has an easier time getting it back to you. And then one of my favorite lock screen customization options, you can also tap right here on the quick toggles to change from the default flashlight to anything else you want. So as you can see, we have some recommended, I think, options by Samsung. But if you keep scrolling down, you'll find pretty much every app you have installed on your phone. So you can even use the quick toggle to launch Subway Surfers if that's what you want. Needless to say, by the way, you can do this with the left quick toggle and with the right quick toggle. Then, of course, if you tap right here at the top on wallpapers, you'll also be able to change the wallpaper between the featured Samsung ones you always get with a new Samsung phone. You can select any photo from your gallery. You can choose between different packages of wallpapers Samsung gives you by default. And you even have the option right here at the bottom to add a dynamic lock screen, meaning a moving lock screen that's a little bit more, alive, so to say, than a plain image. But anyways, that said, I believe it is as important to customize the lock screen as it is to customize the home screen. Of course, it being a Samsung phone, you can place your icons anywhere you want. You can even add widgets to the home screen. But something a lot of people don't know is that you also have a lot of customization for your widgets. So let's actually add this camera widget so I can show you. In this case, whoa, that's an unfortunate choice for a photo, Samsung. As you can see, you can choose from any of your photos of your gallery to be the wallpaper thumbnail. You can also rename the widget. So instead of calling it camera widget or something like that, you can call it potato. Then a little bit more useful, you can also select the part of the camera you open when you tap on the widget. So you can choose between the rear camera and the front camera and any of the camera modes that are available on the A16. Now that said, another very cool thing you can do with widgets on the Galaxy A16 is that you can actually stack them together, meaning you can put multiple widgets on top of each other so they take up less space. For that, you just have to grab any of the widgets you have on your home screen, then tap and hold, and then tap on Create Stack right here. Once that's done, you can select between any of the other widgets you have installed on your phone. In this case, let's choose the Device Care widget. And once that's done, as you can see, you can actually scroll between the two, or three or four, or as many as you want. So without taking up a lot of space on either of the pages you have on your home screen, you can actually have a lot of widgets and therefore a lot of functionality. But anyways, that said, and now that we are talking about device care, I believe one of the most important things you should consider with the Samsung Galaxy A16 is that because it is a budget-friendly phone, it doesn't actually have the best processor in the world, and therefore you have to take care of the phone a little bit more to maintain its performance over time. And for that, there's something that I always recommend you do from time to time to the phone, which is to come to the settings and then scroll all the way down to device care right here, and then tap on Optimize Now. As you can see, it is going to optimize every background process or memory usage that's being, taking a little bit extra space or doing a little extra work on the phone. So the performance stays the same, not only in the short term, but also in the long term. So as a rule of thumb, if you ever feel like the phone is a little too slow, come to Device Care and tap on Optimize Now for a slightly better performance. And well, more in that vein, something that I always recommend you do is to tap on Memory and then tap on, there it is, Clean Now, which is going to free up some of the RAM available on the phone. So once again, you have a slightly better experience. But that said, as the ultimate performance improvement tip, I always recommend you tap right here on the Memory tab on RAM Plus, because there's actually an option on Samsung phones to use part of the internal storage memory as RAM, so you can theoretically have more RAM available on the phone, and so you can have more apps, available on the multitasking menu, and the phone runs a little bit smoother. So yeah, here on Memory, make sure you come to RAM Plus and enable the 4GB option. So those are basically the tweaks that are going to make the phone feel better in the short term, or as soon as you enable the tweaks. But then there's actually other tweaks to make sure that the phone still works great in the long term, or in 2, 3, 4 years. So here on Device Care, I want you to scroll down to Auto Optimization and then tap on Auto Restart. So what this is going to do is it's basically going to auto restart the phone every once in a while to clean up the phone and make sure that it doesn't get too cluttered, so you can maintain the performance you get when you first open the phone over time. So as you can see, you have the option to restart the phone when needed, which is going to automatically restart it at any time as a surprise. And then you have the option to, which is by the way the one that I recommend, restart it on schedule, meaning you can choose the day of the week and the time for that restart. So, it can catch you sleeping so you don't even notice. In this case, as you can see, mine is set to Thursday at 3 in the morning. So as I said, it's the middle of the night. It'll catch me sleeping. I won't get the annoyance of an surprise restart when I'm doing something, but I'll get the benefits of auto restart. But anyways, that said, let's move on to some more battery improvement features or tips for the A16. So let's tap right here on battery on the main settings page, and then tap on power saving. These are basically all of the settings you can tweak to improve your battery life. In this case, limiting the CPU to 70%, decreasing the brightness by 10%, and limiting apps in the home screen. Now, of course, these are all going to be slightly inconvenient, making the phone slightly less visible or slightly slower. But if you want to enhance your battery life a little bit more, you can select which of these features you want to enable and then turn on power saving. Now back here to the main battery settings, you can also tap on battery protection and select between basic, adaptive, and maximum. And well, of course, as you probably guessed, these are options to preserve your battery a little bit better over time or protect your battery health. In this case, I would recommend you choose between basic and adaptive because they barely have a dent on your, user experience, with maximum, of course, being the most effective, but also by far the most inconvenient because it basically limits the charging of your phone to 80%, making the battery life noticeably worse. But anyways, that being said, let's move on to probably one of the most important parts of this video, which is the camera section. I'm going to show you all of the settings that I use, specifically on the Galaxy A16, to take the best photos and videos possible. So let's tap right here on the camera app and then tap right here on the top left on camera settings. So here, as you can see, we first have some intelligent features that use AI to take better photos and videos. In this case, we have Scene Optimizer, which is going to automatically adjust the colors and the settings for photos and videos based on what you are capturing. Then a little bit below, you have the option for high efficiency pictures, which is basically going to take pictures with a new codec that takes up less space, but that I've also found has a little dent on image quality, so I usually recommend you turn it off. And well, as you can see a little bit below, you have the same option for videos with the same concept. It is going to use a new codec that takes up less space, but that also has a little dent on video quality. So once again, I recommend you turn it off. Unless you are very tight in space and you need to capture a lot of videos, in that case, turn it on. Then a little bit below on general, we have the option for auto HDR, which is going to expand the dynamic range of your photos and videos. And it's an option that I always recommend you turn on because, well, on the A16, we don't have a huge dynamic range. So expanding it a little bit using, complex photo processing methods is a good option for better photos and videos. Then, of course, I always recommend you turn on grid lines, which, as you can see, are these little bars separating the frame in 9 squares that basically help you frame or compose your shots a lot better. So even though it doesn't seem like it, these lines are going to help you take much better photos and videos. Then a little bit below, you have your settings to keep menu, which is going to let you preserve the settings even when you close the app or you delete it from the multitasking, which I believe to be very, very useful. So you don't have to set everything up again every time you open the app, which I'm pretty sure has been an issue in the past at some point. So yeah, come to settings to keep and turn everything on. But anyways, as you probably know, the side button on the Galaxy A16 is good for locking and unlocking the phone. And it's of course good for, if you tap and hold, accessing the power off menu so you can power off the phone, restart it, or use the lockdown mode. But actually, if you come to the settings and scroll down to advanced features right here, there's actually the option to customize the side button to perform a third action with a double press. So as you can see, we can double press to quickly launch the camera or launch the Samsung Wallet, or a little weird, we can also open any app that we want / the flashlight. So as you can see, we have all of the apps that are available on the phone. That's fine. But we also have the flashlight. And the reason that I say this is weird is because, as you probably know, we have a bunch of other quick toggles available on the phone. And for some reason, the only one of those quick toggles available for the double tap is the flashlight. We cannot access airplane mode. We cannot change mobile data and Wi-Fi. We can't turn on Do Not Disturb. No, the only quick toggle available besides the apps is the flashlight. So as a quick demo, as you can see, if you set it up to open the flashlight and you double press, the flashlight will turn on. But if you tap on Quick Launch the Camera and you double tap, the phone will quickly launch the camera. But anyways, that being said, I can't believe I forgot to tell you about the display. So let's come back here to the main settings page and tap on the display menu. As you can see, we of course have the option to choose between light mode and dark mode, which is going to turn every light surface to dark or black, so you can save a little bit more battery life. We have the option to choose between automatic or adaptive brightness and manual brightness. Also very interesting, a little bit below, we have here on screen mode the option to choose between vivid, which is going to display the classic Samsung colors, which are punchy and vivid, like the name suggests. And we also have the option for natural, which once again, like the name suggests, it is going to display more natural and real life looking colors, but at the expense of things looking a little bit more dull or less vivid, less punchy. Then you also have the option to change your screen timeout between 15 seconds and 10 minutes. So yeah, unfortunately, we still don't have an option to never automatically turn off the phone. The most amount of time the phone can be untouched and still turned on is 10 minutes. Now, probably one of the most important options here on the display settings are the edge panels. So as you probably know, if you turn on the edge panels, you'll see a new little bar right here at the right edge that you can pull out to display your most used apps or most recent apps, or if you tap on the edit button, pretty much anything you want. So you can actually not only use the most recent apps, but just take things out of here and select between all of your apps. You can customize it to look as you please. And even better, if you tap right here on the edge panel settings, you can choose between, of course, apps, which is the default option, and then people and tasks and weather and a bunch more things. So your edge panel not only displays apps, but also displays a bunch more things, making it therefore a lot more useful. As you can see, there's even an option to access the Galaxy Store to either download or pay for third-party edge panels. In this case, we have, as you can see, a Control Center iPhone style edge panel. We have a calendar panel. We have a bunch of different, calculator. There's plenty of options. You can see the top paid, you can see the top free. So yeah, there's a lot of functionality for the edge panels here on the A16. But anyways, that said, and back here to the main display settings, we also have to talk about navigation, because on Samsung phones, there's actually two main ways to navigate through the phone. There is, as you can see to the left, the classic button layout. So we can tap right here to go back, then tap right here to go home, and then tap right here to access the multitasking menu. And then to the right, we have the swipe gestures, which basically let you swipe from the left to go back, then swipe from the bottom to go home, and then swipe from the bottom and hold to access the multitasking menu. Those are what I believe to be the first things you should do on your new Samsung Galaxy A16. If you have any questions regarding any of the things that I've said, please tell me in the comments. And if you didn't like the video or you liked it or you have anything else to say, also please tell me in the comments. That said, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope to see you again very soon. Peace.